Dear Jill, please help me to help my mum. She she's been suffering with her mental health most of her life, and as I've grown up, I've really seen these patterns and behaviors, and I can sense when things are getting too much for her. Recently, she has been to the doctors, reached out herself for help, which is great, but they suggested therapy, and she's kind of refused that. I just want to know, how do I approach this in a sense where I can kind of push her towards therapy and push her to get the help that she needs. Because I really think this is a great start, and it would kind of be great for her to start looking after herself like she looks after everyone else. And I just want her to get that kind of help. Thank you.
Right. So this is really hard, isn't it? Because it sounds like you said that your mom, maybe helps a lot of other people and maybe then uh, maybe doesn't look after herself in the way that you'd like her to, or in the way that you think she needs to. And because of that, then the people around your mum then suffer, whether that's because it's through worry or because of her behavior or whatever. But ultimately, and this is what's really tricky for you, and this is why I think you're calling, is because you can't make anybody do anything, can you? None of us can make anybody do anything. And other than a really cards on the table conversation saying, I really think you would benefit, or I really feel like you need help. You could even say, it really affects me when you are going through some kind of episode. It really affects the way I live my life, and it affects my stress levels and my sleep and all of that. And see if that in any way moves the needle with her. But the thing that I think is most important for you, which may sound a bit counterintuitive, is that I think you always need to put in boundaries with things like this. And I think that you can spend your whole life trying to help someone, and you can give so much energy because you love this person and you will do anything for them. But people can only get help when they want help. And that is something that I've learned along the way. You cannot force someone to get better, in quotation marks, because I'm not saying your mum needs that. I'm just saying it needs to come from the person. The person has to want to get better or get help. Because if they're doing it for someone else, or you'll hear people say, I'm in recovery and, oh, I only came here because, my wife told me that I had to, or to please my daughter. Well, that's never the greatest start. The greatest start is, I want to be better for me. I want to wake up and feel better about myself. I want to feel good. And mental health is so complex. It's so difficult because quite often, if we are going into some sort of episode, when we don't even have the clarity of mind to know that that's essentially what's happening. So that's all I can suggest, really. Just a cards on the table conversation. This is how it feels when I see you, struggling. This is how it affects me. I really think you could benefit from the help you've been offered and the support that's out there. But other than that, what I have to do then is slightly remove myself when you're in that phase, because it's too upsetting, it's too difficult. You have a life to live, and your mum knows that. She doesn't want you to not live your life. But if we are constant carers for someone, or we're constantly waiting for the next time somebody falls off in some way, it is going to really affect the progress of our own lives. And most people listening would say, yeah, but you couldn't possibly ignore someone you love, or reject them. And I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm suggesting that you work out what's acceptable for you and what isn't, and what your boundaries are, what you're prepared to do and what you're not prepared to do. And actually, you know what you could do? Because in Alcoholics Anonymous, There's an amazing 12-step recovery called Al-Anon. And Al-Anon is for the people who are with alcoholics. They might have children, or they might have a partner who's an alcoholic, or parents who are alcoholics. And that is within itself a 12-step program, because people in Al-Anon would also accept that there's parts of the way they behave towards the person that has the addiction that possibly their behavior could also be somehow addictive in the way that they sort of attach themselves to it. So it's really important for you to work out what you're happy with and what you're not happy with. And you could even reach out and find a support group, because you're not suffering with your mental health and you do have the clarity of mind. So you could go and find other people who are in your situation and say, like, people who have parents who struggle like this, and say, what did you do? How do you cope when your mom is, or your dad is acting out? What would you suggest I do? And then you would just have somebody else's point of view, somebody who was in your position, and then you'd work out going forward what you can and you can't do for your mom. So it's a really tricky one, that, isn't it?
I think from conversations I've had with people or friends or even myself, there's a point where you say to someone or a friend or your family member, you need to get some help. And then they go, oh, and think what they will. But I think there's also a real struggle with people that go, they don't want to say, I need some help, because they might make excuses as people that need more help than me. And it's like, if it's somebody, which I'm trying to think about, Emily's mum might be, she clearly cares about other people a lot. So she obviously puts other people first, and therefore might be thinking, I don't need help because other people need help.
But the greatest act of self-care you could ever do is take care of yourself, isn't it? Because if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to have an effect on other people. And that's what her mum would hopefully get. She needs to get to that point where she realizes that, you know, the old cliched saying, if you don't put your oxygen mask on first, then you're not going to be able to help anybody else. So she needs to think, as much as she's a caregiver, as much as she can help other people, there are times where she's not capable of that because of her own mental health. So if she puts herself first, she will be 50% better at helping other people. It's just a little sort of switch around, isn't it, in your mind? And I think it's quite common. I think it's quite common that people who suffer like that have a huge amount of empathy and therefore give themselves so completely to other people. But we do. It's the, you know, I think that is the greatest act of self-care you could do, is to look after yourself, because you don't realize quite the effect you're having on other people when you don't.